All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here, Mark P. Markets. Thanks for joining me for another Bitcoin day trade setups analysis and US market open price action analysis session. Um, what we're going to do here, of course, as you know, I'm streaming every day. We're going to be looking at the major markets. Okay. We're going to be looking at the price action, the price structure. We're going to be looking for levels and see what's changing, right, on the bigger picture. At the same time, we're going to be looking for day trade setups on Bitcoin to see if there's anything worth taking. If anything, there's always a good learning opportunity here. Okay, so with all that being said, let's get this thing started. Let me put my slide. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, now hold on, let me adjust my microphone. Okay, cool. So now, got all my regulars. Good to see you all. Stian, Eligius, Bill, all right. Alex, Alice, all right, cool. Good, everyone's here. All right, now, must be a slow day in the markets, huh? Because I only got a couple of people here. And anyway, we'll get looking at these things. I sent out a euro short yesterday, actually at midnight. So it was today. I sent out a euro short, and I mean, when I looked at it before, it was working. But you know, we'll talk about that here as well, and when I start evaluating the bigger picture. So real quick, first thing I just want to mention is I am sponsored by 8Cap Partners. All right, they are a forex broker dealer in Australia. They are regulated in Australia. And if you're a non-US resident and you're not in a sanctioned country, you can open an account with them. Okay. They offer a wide variety of instruments to trade, a couple of spread categories that you can trade through. So they're also integrated with TradingView. So you can actually use TradingView to place trades instead of MetaTrader, which is a nice choice. So there's a link in the description portion of this video. If you're interested in that, please check it out. Also, if you deposit $500 and you trade a standard lot, you can get my training program for free. But if you go that route, please let me know so I could make sure that everything works out smoothly and you get the training program. All right, they're willing to pay for it on your behalf. You just have to meet their criteria. Also, check out my training program. Everything that you see here in this stream comes from that. Okay, people ask me, how come you're no oscillators? Right? It's because I use perspective from particular pieces of information that I evaluate from a chart. Okay. And that the basic foundation of that is in my training program. Most of you have taken it, but if you're someone new that's watching this, maybe after the fact, make sure to check it out. It's at markpmarkets.com, link in the description portion. Also, if you're not in my Discord community, there's a free area. I mean, Bill has been putting a bunch of really valuable stuff in the resources channel. And then we got in the student area, we got Stian now putting some interesting videos. I love that video with the payment for order flow. But again, that's only students can see that. Anyway, my point is, if you're not in the Discord community, go there. There's a 7-day free trial if you're interested in the signals. So I encourage you to check that out and see if you like it. Okay, I have a number of packages, and the more time you purchase, obviously, the cheaper it gets. I don't have these ridiculous prices like some other people, $150 a month. It's kind of ridiculous. And then they say, "Oh, that's cheap." Anyway, all right, enough of that. Let's not start with those rants so early. All right. So with all that being said, let's get into the Bitcoin situation. So first thing, as a day trader, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at I'm going to look at the day trade time frame first. I said 5. I meant day trade time frame. We're going to notate our levels, and then we're going to get a sense of context so we can put some sort of idea of reasonable expectations. Okay, that's where it begins. So we start here with the 30-minute chart. Okay, and you could use any Bitcoin chart for this. But when we get to the 5-minute, we're going to change to the perp chart. I mean, the levels are going to be the same. In fact, I should probably change to the perp chart now, the perpetual contract. So let's go there because so the levels stay on the chart. So let's see here. I'll go with, I like to use the Binance chart. I don't know. I don't like Binance, but I like to use their chart. All right. I'd like them more if they sponsored me. All right. Anyway, so here's the these are all the levels. See, I like using this chart because it remembers the levels from our previous analysis, and you can see how the levels are still relevant, right? That's an important point. I'm going to erase some of these because we don't need to see these, but the horizontal lines are based on previous price action on a 30-minute chart. Notice how the price behaves as the market continues to unfold, okay? These lines were based on levels and things way back here. And as you can see, they're still relevant, okay? That's why it's very important to have your levels mapped out in advance. And when you're looking at a 30-minute, a lot of the levels stay relevant for quite some time until they're broken. So here we go again, right? Where are we? Well, first of all right, so we have the levels. I don't have to really spend any time drawing levels on this chart because we have the levels. They're still the same, which means the market really hasn't done much over the previous couple of days. Okay, so what I'm interested in now is the context. So what are we looking at? Now, again, right away, people, the first thing they grasp for is news. Don't waste your time. Okay, because news by the time it reaches you is ancient to begin with. First of all, don't waste your time. It's priced into the market. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to know. So I don't waste my time with that. I go straight to the price and I trust the price. Now, context. I'm looking at the structures here, right? I mean, we know that the bigger picture structure is generally bearish. We know that. That can have an effect. But as an intraday trader, you don't want to get too anchored on the bigger picture. Okay, yes, when the bigger picture asserts itself, sure, we can expect more bearish price action, but don't go into this with that bias because we can have bullish momentum like this. Okay, and that's a day trade opportunity. You don't want to be shorting that. So you have to think on both sides. It's a lot harder to be a day trader. I don't like showing this because a lot of beginners think that this is the way to go, and it's actually not. You're better off starting out with the bigger picture and eventually working your way to this. What I'm showing you here is actually very advanced, okay? And I process a lot of information very quickly, and I know what carries weight, and I know what's worthless. And most stuff here is worthless, okay? Anyway, so with that being said, I'm looking at, so we have this broader structure here, right? That's bearish. And we have a lower high over here. That's bearish. We have lower highs over here. That's bearish too. All right, a lot of bearish. And we only have this support. This support at 16, what is that? Basically 16 even or 16.5. What's the low there? 16.4. What's this low over here? 16.3.5. All right. That seems to be the holdup there. Okay. The market is, for whatever, that's temporary support. Now, don't make a big deal out of that. It's temporary. All right. On the bigger picture, in fact, there's a sell signal that's in play as a result of that. It's just not, there's no momentum right now. And we are going into holiday mode. Okay. Next week is going to be holiday nonsense, ridiculous stuff all over the place. Keep that in mind. People start factoring that in now. All right. Investors start going on their holiday now. They don't want to be in front of a computer. That's how it works. Okay. It's a seasonal thing. So keep that in mind. And as volume gets smaller and smaller, there is more room for irrational or erratic behavior. Please keep that in mind. Okay. That's why there's no room for opinions in this game. Don't have an opinion. All right. So with that being said, I want to see, what is the most recent price action doing? We're respecting the support for now. Okay, no problem. So I'm open to longs. All right, at that level, I'm open. We can basically judge this entire thing here basically as a consolidation. Okay, a temporary one, of course. They're all temporary, but keep that in mind. It's a consolidation. There's no trend here. All right, intraday right now, there's no trend. So that means supports are likely to be respected. Okay, and resistance levels are likely to be respected because we have no trend. Now, this thing is basically a nice bullish candle on this 30-minute chart here, okay? Am I going to react to that? You guys should know the answer. No, there's nothing to do here. This is not a setup. Oh, but it's going higher. I mean, it's not. If you have a problem like controlling yourself, don't play this game because you're never going to win, okay? We have to wait for the market to come to us. Right now, that plan would be short this level. That's the idea because that's the resistance. I'm not going to buy this now. If I'm going to buy it, I want a higher probability location. That would be here. So either we pull back, maybe we retest this location. Perhaps we generate a new buy signal. Now you may say, well, what about this inside bar? Isn't that a buy signal? Well, yeah, it is. But the thing is, what's the high of there? What's the high of that price? 516. Right now we're at 535. I don't want to chase it, okay? Because now I got to buy this thing at 535, and I just don't want to chase it. So let it go, all right? If we get into this zone up in here, we'll be open to a short setup. If we pull back and we generate another buy signal, I'll be interested in the long. Again, you have to think on both sides, okay? So that's the day trade plan. We'll see now how this thing unfolds as I continue with the analysis. And now we're going to go to the other chart here. Okay, we're going to go to the daily time frame, and we're going to be looking at the bigger picture situation across major markets. And we'll be monitoring this thing here on the 5-minute chart. All right. Any questions about that? Let me check the chat here. How's the chat doing? All right. Look at Mr. Na. It took out yesterday's low. Okay, I'll take a look, Alice. Hey, Shell, good to see you. Dollar index. That's why I put out a sell signal in the euro. I'm short the euro, but I'm tall at the same time. Actually, I'm not tall. Anyway, I'm just trying to be Seinfeld here. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. Kim, all right. Hey, Joel. Joel, so I hope you got my email, Joel. And yeah, I just wanted to mention something. Hey, Konstantinos, good to see you. The other day, Monday or Sunday, I sent out that early bird coupon. I forgot to mention, it's not like good for a long period of time. There is a time limit to it. Okay, so for those of you that got it and you're just kind of sitting on it, don't wait like a couple of weeks to put that in, because I'm going to delete those. Okay, I don't want to give away things at those prices. That was a special price for only people that were interested in getting into this, like, relatively soon. Okay, you know what I mean? So I have a number of people that ask me for the coupon, and then there's no transaction. So when I cancel that coupon, then you're going to have to settle for the 20% coupon that I come out with, which is obviously less savings for you. So that's coming soon. That's the next one. All right. So if you can't do it right now, the 30% one, well, then you're gonna have to settle for the 20% one, because once I cancel that 30% one, that's it. All right. I've been very generous with the time. I mean, since August 31st or whatever. I mean, the chat room has been completely free, and it took me 2 months to basically get to this point. So just wanted to let you know. All right. Anyway, let's get into this. So Bitcoin, right? I've been monitoring this carefully because there's a sell signal here, okay? And this is the signal is this little inside bar was taken out, right? But as you can see, there's no momentum. So that's the problem with continuation patterns. Basically, it's a continuation pattern. That's the problem when there's no catalyst, okay? So, we had all that FTX drama, blah, 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 that led to that. Takes us to this area, and now there's nothing, right? There's nothing driving this thing. That retail sales number yesterday, obviously the market wasn't very impressed. Obviously, just look at the prices, right? I don't care what the actual number was. Look at the S&P, look at the NASDAQ, okay? Anyway, so there's a sell signal here. There's just no follow through. What I don't like about the sell signal is I don't like this location. Okay, this is a pretty heavy duty area as far as supports. Let me show you something. So I've based for months and months and months, I've talked about the 17K support area, right? And then we have, if we go back further here, let me make this chart bigger for a moment. All right, while we're watching that Bitcoin chart. Oh, and I forgot to put the 5-minute up. Okay, there we go. I knew something was strange. I'm like, why is that candle not changing? Okay, so yeah, so like I said, I'm not going to chase that. We know our levels. We'll see how this price action behaves. This is the price action I want to judge for setups. Okay, sorry, I forgot to change the chart. Sorry about that. All right, so we're watching that now. So what I want to point out here on this chart, let's go to the weekly chart, okay? Because people, they sit there and they look at my chart all puzzled. Where did that level come from? It comes from here, okay? It comes from here. So this section right here is basically a pretty significant support. And that basically is what? It's 17K and 14K, okay? That gives us this zone. So this zone is a support zone, and it's going to be tough to short. If there's no catalyst, right, then a squeeze is likely. and I don't want to get caught in a squeeze. I don't short this thing, but I don't want people, if I call a short, I don't want the people that follow it to get caught in a squeeze. So here's the thing. If the short is active right now, I mean, it's in play. I mean, let me just remove this one. It's in play, and your stop is going to have to probably go like up here somewhere. Okay, that 18K, that's your resistance. This is your short-term resistance right now. Okay, so that's kind of wide. You have to short this thing at like basically 16K and risk another 2,000 points in hopes that this thing goes to 14K or lower. You're going to need a powerful catalyst to get that going. Okay, in this environment, we're going straight into the holidays now. There tends to be a lot of optimism, whether it's irrational or not. I mean, Bitcoin has a lot of problems in the future. Okay, but there's a lot of opinions. Oh, just short Bitcoin, it's going to go to zero. There are a lot of problems on the horizon, but it doesn't mean the market will not be irrational. Okay, I mean, there's all kinds of problems with regulatory stuff and Tether, and there's all kinds of things that event risk that can come out. Next thing you know, this thing's at 10K. That's all within reason, and you should account for that type of risk, but you can't count on it. All right, you can account for it, but do not count on it. Does that make sense? So that's why shorting this at this location is tough. I prefer a higher probability short would be the 18K, or even better, if it can push its way back up to 20K. That would be even more appealing. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is very aggressive. If you take this idea, I haven't even shared the idea officially. I have not shared the idea. But if you're interested in that, your stop is going to have to go at least 2,000 points higher. Okay, and you're looking for at least a 2,000 point move, and that can take a week or two to play out. Okay, I'm watching this Bitcoin situation. Let me see. No, I don't like this location. I mean, there's some minor resistance right there, but I don't like it. I just don't like it. Okay, so I'm not doing anything here. I want to see a more defined resistance. I want to see this area. Okay, so no short, not doing anything with that. Okay, again, you don't take signals just to take a signal. Signals are random. You need to understand that the win rate on these are typically 50%. So you're going to be wrong half the time. I don't feel like flipping a coin right now. I want something. I'm hoping that I can do better than 50%. And what's going to help me stack probabilities a little bit more in my favor is wait for an attractive level. Okay. So, as a day trader in my earlier days, I used to make this mistake all the time. I would just react to what I see. Okay. Do not do that. All right. So anyway, so that's Bitcoin on the bigger picture. Does that make sense to you guys? Avoid the mistake. Do not let your evaluation of the bigger picture affect the smaller picture. The smaller picture is like its own thing. You have to treat it separately. All right. Let's move along now. Alice, I'll get to mRNA after I check out the Nasdaq. Let's go to the bond market. Okay, let's take a look at this bond market. So look at that. What a surprise. So I've been telling people about this bond market, okay, over and over. You guys hear me every day. The bond market is not impressive. If anyone has been telling you otherwise, they are exposing themselves as a novice. Okay, please understand that. There's no reason to be long bonds. There's nothing changing here economically. And now we have a sell signal, a reversal, actually inside bar. It's a setup, inside bar in a location where this is likely to happen. If Bitcoin looked like this, I would be very happy to short it, okay? Or call a short anyway. I don't short Bitcoin. People think I'm a perma bear. I'm actually a bull. I just, if the market says be bearish, then I'll call bearish trades. There's no reason to go long. Okay, I want to go long, but there's no reason to. Okay, at least not for any swing trades. So anyway, back to the bonds, right? So this thing, we close like this. All right, this candle closes like that. We take this candle out tomorrow. We will have a new sell signal in the bond market, and that's going to be a very interesting move. Where does that move take us? Okay, over the next couple of weeks, do we test this low? If we do, then nothing has changed. So all these clowns that keep calling for a bull market are mindless morons, okay? Or they're just looking for attention. Please Don't listen to people, please. This chart is not telling us anything here that's compelling or anything that we should be optimistic about. Not yet. Now, if the bonds produce a higher low somewhere along the line and they basically prove that they want to stay inside of a range, okay, maybe we can make some adjustments somewhat. But what this means is for swing trades on the long side in the stock market, you don't expect much, okay? And be quick to get out if you get a conflicting signal, because nothing has changed. So with that being said, let's look at the NASDAQ, okay? Look at this. So no surprise there. I've been warning about, in fact, I should have called that. We had the sell signal, but I just have so much on my plate. It's hard for me to actually focus on the markets. There's a lot of stuff that I have to do. Once I get this going, and once I have like the chat room working properly and all that stuff, then I'll be able to spend more time evaluating specific stocks and stock sectors and all that other stuff, and we'll be able to find more opportunities. But the point is this: I warned you about this NASDAQ, okay, and the S&P. I mean, they're the same thing. I don't need to look at the S&P. It's the same thing. All right, bearish pin bar in a resistance area, just like the bonds. Sell signal in play. If you're in stocks, you're taking pain. If you invested too heavily, you invested at a very risky area. Okay, I know none of you have, but I'm just saying a lot of morons out there, they do those kind of things and they have no idea where they are on the map. And this is not an area to be going long. There was nothing. This was what the CPI number, but basically led to that. It's just irrational bear market rally. It's nonsense and meaningless. Okay, meaningless. So the question is, right now, if you're not short, and should you short stocks? I'm not a big fan of shorting stocks. There's just too many risks. I prefer using options. There's just much better risk control. I'm not going to talk about all that detail here. JP Trader he's very into the options. Options are a great thing. You should learn them. Okay, but I don't have the time to teach those. So here's the thing: if you're going to short something, stick to an index, right? Maybe like the NASDAQ. But the thing is that this thing's in play now, so you're kind of chasing it. All right, you just have to watch this thing. You don't want to be shorting this right now. The signal was at 669 and we're at 553. You don't want to chase it. Point is, this thing, options would be a good choice. We want to see if this thing can produce a higher low somewhere in there. If it can, that can lead to a new buying opportunity and possibly swing trades, maybe some swing trades on the long side, but again, not expecting a whole lot, okay? So we'll see how that goes. That's the NASDAQ. The S&P is going to look similar. I mean, I'll take a look at the chart really quick, but I'm sure it looks, see what I mean? Okay, let's take a look. Let's move along and let's look at the dollar index. Actually, no, you know what, let's take a look at Mr. Na, Moderna. So, Alice, what were you saying about that here? Took out yesterday's low, so I guess good timing. Well, this one tends to be, let's look at the weekly chart. I mean, look at that. This one tends to be a very emotional, it's very news driven. It's not exactly correlated to the mainstream stocks, okay? Look at that move, all right? I mean, so that right there, beautiful double bottom situation, okay? If you manage, we could see this, of course, after the fact. This is a weekly chart, and it went straight to that resistance, okay? So great if you bought near that low, not good if you bought yesterday or the day before. This is a bad place to be going long. No matter, even if you don't know anything about anything else, that right there, you shouldn't be buying there. All right, but people, you know what they do? They get obsessed with only this. Oh, it looks safe. There's nothing safe about this, okay? Especially this stock. All right, by the way, that's a lower high consolidation. I mean, look at this structure here. All right, this is a lower high consolidation. This is not a long. All right, I would not, that's not a long. It's got a long way to go before it proves anything. Keep that in mind. So that's Moderna. I would not be going long here. If you have some, good time to probably take profits, okay? There is a sell signal. Look at yesterday's pin bar. There is a sell signal in play. In shorting this thing, again, options would be the better way to go. You can buy puts. If you're going to sell a call, you shouldn't sell a naked call. You can do what's called a bear call spread, where you sell the lower call and you buy a higher call, and then your risk is well controlled at that point. If this thing gaps, 10 points on you the next day and you have a call spread on, okay, it's a vertical spread, your risk is specifically defined, okay, and your loss is not going to continue to grow. It's going to be locked. Anyway, all right, that's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you for bringing that one up. Interesting price chart. Okay, I'm watching this Bitcoin. Let's see what's going on here. We may have a trade set up developing. Now, here's the thing. So this location, it's not ideal. So you know what? I'm gonna hold off on that. I want to see if we're gonna see the long setup. I prefer to see if I'm not gonna get these levels here, because the market doesn't have to give me the levels that I want. The market may just not want to give me those levels, but I will be open to taking something over here, like just a little bit higher, somewhere around there. Okay, I'll draw this rectangle there. Like so, if we can test that area and get a buy signal, I'll be interested in that. I'm not going to react to this here. Okay. All right, let's move along. So that was Moderna. Let's now go to the dollar index. Okay. Now look at the dollar index. So it was Alice mentioned buy signal. We've been talking about this. I mean, in fact, this is the inverse of the euro, is it not? Look at the bullish pin bar from the other day. When that thing appears, right, and we don't get the buy signal right away, but here it is. All right, and I saw that developing on the euro yesterday. I'm like, you know what? I'm shorting that euro. All right, or I'm putting the order out there. In fact, when I put that order out there, you had a 50 pip head start, because when I put the order out there, the euro was at like 103.70 and the sell stop was at 103.30, so 40 pips. All right, and it took like the whole night to actually reach that price, or at least it took a few hours. Now you say, well, if you knew it was going to be a short, why would you not want to make those 40 pips? Because the market needs to confirm. That's why. Because that thing could have maybe went to 103.50, turned right around, and next thing you know, it's at 104.20. Okay, so it needs to confirm. You're not going to get the best price, but we're not looking for the best price. We're looking for being on the right side. Okay, so people that think, oh, you could have gotten a better price, right? Try that 100 times and let me know how it turns out. Okay, and don't blame me when you wipe out your account. Anyway, so I like this dollar situation, and that's why I'm short the euro. Now let's look at the dollar. So we know that the dollar, this area on the dollar, I'm going to go to a weekly chart. I've been pointing this out. I point this out every day. Okay, this location on the dollar is not a place to be going short. It's a higher low in a broad bullish trend. We saw the bond market turning around. No surprise there. Okay, so now the big question with the dollar is how far does it go? Okay. Are we going to make a new high over the next few weeks? I mean, it's possible. The trend hasn't changed yet here. This bearish movement is not a trend change. It's just a retrace. All right. So we'll see. Now, if this thing fails to make a new high over the next few weeks, then maybe we can start adjusting our outlook. But until then, it's reasonable to expect or anticipate a higher high, because higher lows often lead to higher highs. Okay, that's price structure. Look at this Bitcoin situation. It's too bad that this is not in an area that's attractive. I like this setup, but I just don't like the location. So I'm gonna have to wait. Okay, just gonna have to wait. I'm not calling that. So anyway, that's the dollar. That's the dollar index. So now let's take a look at the euro. All right, actually, let's go back to the 1440 and let's go take a look at the euro. Right, because now this is interesting, because again, this is why I called it short. And if you haven't seen that trade, I put it in the signal channel. Only members can see that now, because I locked it from free people. But I put all the information in that channel, as far as the orders, the stop, the target, all that stuff. So this is the resistance. Anyone that thinks that the euro is along is mindless, because there's nothing. This is just these bear market rallies. They're very sharp. They're very emotional, and you can't be fooled by just this. Yes, it's interesting. It's notable, but you have to keep an eye on that bigger picture. And as we saw, the dollar is generally bullish. If that dollar continues, even if the dollar can't make a higher high, this euro can reasonably test this area here, and that's all I'm looking for. Okay, so we'll see how that unfolds over the next few days. Now, if a conflicting signal develops, which is very possible, then there may be an earlier opportunity to exit for a smaller loss. I mean, I put a pretty wide stop on this thing, more than I like to take on the euro. But this thing's been very noisy. I mean, look at this high over here, 104. I mean, this was almost 105. Okay, that's ridiculous for the euro. But the dollar there's been a lot of action. So I put a pretty wide stop on that thing. So if we get a conflicting signal, I'll at least point it out. I don't know if I will exit. We'll have to see. Okay. You have to play that one by ear. It's also going to depend on how aggressive or how conservative you want to be with that situation. Sometimes I give these things a chance, like Bitcoin. That Bitcoin short that I had from 20,250, that thing went 1,500 points against the trade. Okay, it never went to the stop, but you had to sit through that. And I mentioned the conflicting signal, but I never officially called an exit. And then FTX news came out. Okay, so anyway, that's why you have to give these things a chance sometimes. All right, let's look at this Bitcoin situation. It's too bad. Let's see, how much would have this been worth if we had gotten long? 16,514, 522. That's nothing. Yeah, it looks a lot bigger than it is on this 5-minute chart. Man, this thing, I remember when this thing used to move intraday, 200 points in a clip. Like in 1 minute, it'd be moving like, now this thing sucks. This thing can't even get out of its own way. That's why it really pays to wait for the level. Okay, so we're going to wait. And if it wants to go straight up to the resistance without us, no problem. We look to be shorting that resistance. If it clears the resistance, then we have to change. Okay, so again, I never have opinions, especially intraday. I really don't have opinions. I'm open to both sides at all times. All right, so that's the euro. Now, do I have any other questions about anything here? Let's take a look at. Let me see. What's this? What's Constantino was looking also at open interest. It has, okay, with recent. Okay, there's not much appetite for leverage. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you like to look at those numbers. That's fine, but that's if it makes you happy. Like I said, that short that I put on at 20,250, I wasn't looking at anything else. I wasn't looking at the numbers. I wasn't looking at the volume. None of that stuff. And it turned out to be a 2,000 point winner or whatever, right? Because that news just conveniently came out not too long after that short was in play. So it just goes to show, right? Less is more. And that's really like the whole point of my training program. The idea is to take you away from all the garbage out there, all the garbage that people put in front of your face, all the garbage that people sell you. Do you realize every platform, when you sign up for a platform, I don't care who it is, okay? Binance, Coinbase, it doesn't matter, okay? If you look at these platforms, you sign up, you have your account, you log in, you're looking at the charts, you're looking at all this information. And for some reason, we think that information is special. We think that only we can see it. We're logged into our account, only we can see it. And there's something going on here. And there's all this moving, flashing numbers. It's kind of like a slot machine, right? It's amazing how 99% of that information is worthless, okay? It is made to get you to trade because they make money on the fees. They don't care about your outcome, okay? If this business was based on your outcome, I'm sure there'd be much more valuable tools out there to help you time things better because they would want you to win, but they don't care if you win. Okay, especially when they take the other side of your trade, they're hoping you lose. It's a conflict of interest. That's baked into everything these days, even your favorite stockbroker like Robinhood. Now, Stian put that article, a video. He put a video in the training in the student room. I renamed the channel, but in the student area, and it was about payment for order flow. Very good video. You should all be familiar with that before you open up a Robinhood account. Okay, because here I'm not paying any commissions like the rest of you. I'm more savvy. Okay, read the fine print. Anyway, all right. So that's that. Any questions? Any questions? I'm not picking on you, Konstantinos. I'm just saying, I use very little information and I manage to navigate effectively. All right. Whether that is staying out of stuff like staying away from the stock market top, knowing when there's more risk, like basically gauging the risk and recognizing when I should just stay out. Okay, that goes a long way. Like Steen put in the chat the other day, you're better off missing moves than losing money. You're better off not making profit than losing money. All right, because you can afford to miss infinite moves. You still have your money and you can trade again at some point when a high quality opportunity comes along. So by separating yourself, for one, from the herd, right, and part of that is cutting yourself off from the information that the herd consumes, okay? Like all the garbage on your platform, like news, like all this other stuff, all this conventional mainstream stuff. If everyone is looking at the same information, they're likely to all behave the same way. Do you realize, like something on MetaTrader? I don't know if you guys are familiar with the MetaTrader platform. It's an antiquated platform. I'm sorry, but it is. Okay, the chart selections that you have, it's fixed. 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, right? And you don't have any other choices. That's bad, because you realize thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are looking at exactly the same thing. And there's nothing good about that. That's why that platform, the inflexibility is a huge red flag with that platform. TradingView, on the other hand, you can put any time frame you want. Why is that better? Because you can see things from a more unique perspective if you want to. On this chart, I'm showing you a 5-minute chart. I look at 30-minute charts. Yeah, sure. But what if I want to look at a 3-minute chart? What if I want to look at a 12-hour chart? Why would I want to look at those charts? Because I'm looking for certain things that you're not going to see on a 4-hour chart, right? So there's certain things I'm looking for, and it's also based on the type of trade I'm looking to take. You need that flexibility. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and teach you all that stuff right now, but the point is, you need flexibility. You need to be able to look at information in a unique way. That's very important. And that platform doesn't allow you to do that, which I always thought was a big problem. But retail trader doesn't know any better. Okay, so and I'm a retail trader. I just have a lot of knowledge and I have a lot of experience. So yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, but I know how to play the game. Okay, and it took a really long time to figure it out, especially through trial and error. Okay, do you spread your risk on? No, Armin, that's a good question. I don't spread on no, I don't. First of all, if I'm working with day trades, I'm on just whatever exchange I'm on, right? Coinbase, and that's it. Okay, I don't day trade Bitcoin really. I've worked with it, as you can see. I call trades here, but I don't. I specialize in S&Ps, so obviously I use another broker for that. Okay, but I don't spread my risk across exchanges. No, I don't do that. But I don't have to, because the instruments that I am in, I use Interactive Brokers. I don't need to have another broker, for options and stocks and stuff like that. I don't need to do that. Okay. When you're dealing with these exchanges, I mean, because of the trust factor and everything we just saw with FTX, you should probably not have all your money in one exchange. It's probably a bad idea. Only have what you need there. So if you need some money for day trades, just you keep that there. If you want to have two exchanges, one for day trades and then one for your larger time frame stuff, okay, you keep that there. But not a good idea to store your, if you have money on the side waiting to invest, don't store it in an exchange. Because again, we get some other event that goes out of some unexpected event that unfolds, like Tether is not worth $1. Okay, watch out for that one. And then another exchange goes out of business as a result. Your money will vanish, as all these FTX people have found out. And meanwhile, I mean, talk about robbery, right? $600 million was conveniently hacked from them, and that's a big mystery. And then $2 billion is missing. What about that one? $2 billion? How does that go missing? Anyway, that's all customer money. Okay, if you had money in FTX, they ran away with your money. So that any exchange is that's a risk that you take. I remember the other day, Kai asked me, "Is there, what can we do to avoid counterparty risk?" And I said, "There's not much. It's a risk. It's the game we play. When you play that game with Bitcoin or the altcoins, That's one of the risks that people don't expect or appreciate. Your exchange may evaporate and your money goes with it. Okay. So that's a risk. And that's why it's wise not just keep what you need there and don't keep more than that. If you have all your money in an exchange, like some people that I know, you're taking enormous risk and you're trusting that exchange who you should not trust. Okay, I don't care what they say. I don't. Well, we're secure. I mean, FTX. You know how secure they were, and all their political connections, and they're going to initiate all this regulation, and they're going to be in the forefront of blah blah, blah, and they evaporated. Okay, so you cannot trust anyone in that space. Keep your money. Ooh, look at that. Keep your money. Keep only what you need there, and it would probably be wise if you're going to day trade on one, keep it separate from your larger time frame stuff. Maybe your swing trades or investing are in one, or maybe you split up across three. Day trades for one, or investing on another one, and swing trades on one. You can do it something like that. Okay. Look at this move, man. It's too bad I wasn't long that, but what am I going to do? You're going to miss moves straight into the resistance. What time is it? Is there news? What is that all about? Let's do this. NSX USD. Okay, is it coming from there? Let's see. Okay, all right. I'm looking at the stock market correlation here. Okay, so straight into that resistance. I mean, we went straight there. That would have been a nice long, but all right, whatever. I saw the signal, but I wasn't interested in the location. You're going to miss them sometimes. That's part of the game. No problem. Now we're in short territory. Okay. So you notice while people are going to react to that, instead of doing that, okay, I'm thinking short. I'm not shorting it. I'm not stepping in front of it, but I see the location. Okay. So I'm anticipating that we're going to see selling activity over the next few candles. That's what I'm thinking. Do we get it? I don't know. But you see, as you notice, my thinking is over here. Let me erase these rectangles to make it a little easier on the eye. My thinking is over here. Okay. This is where my thinking is, over here. Typical retail trader is thinking here. Okay. I'm thinking here. I'm anticipating what we're likely to see here. So I'm not chasing that. I'm thinking short. But thinking is not taking a trade. Okay. So notice I'm not calling the short, I'm thinking. So then when you see something like this, it's backing off. Oh, it's backing off. It's time to short. It's too early. This backing off doesn't mean anything. It's just noise. Okay. So let's let it play out a couple more minutes and then I'm going to wrap this up. I may not get the signal, but it's good that we see that, how something develops and how we miss it. Looking back, yeah, sure. It was an aggressive trade. But there was a setup there. We know setups are random. If you were aggressive, if you had taken that, hey, this thing would have worked out your way, right? How much? Let's see, 530 was the entry. So what's this thing right now? 599. Okay. So you're looking at 70 points. I mean, that seems to be the average movement. Now look at the Nasdaq. Do you see the correlation? Do you see the relationship? Everyone's so focused on Bitcoin. Everyone thinks the thing trades on its own. It does not trade on its own. Look at the market. Look at the stock market. Now, this may get a little more exaggerated, but notice this is going the same way. Okay. So a lot of times it pays to just, be aware of this. Pay attention to the stock market. Okay. Anyway, so let's see where this thing goes. How much time do we have in this candle? All right. This candle just closed. All right. So I'm going to wait. So we'll do 5 more minutes. And then we'll see how this candle closes, okay, on the next 5-minute bar. Again, don't react. Okay, no problem. Do you guys have any questions? Any questions? Armin, I have to give you permission because you're a student. I'm actually doing a student meeting next week. Okay, I'm doing a student meeting, and it's only open to students. So previous students or current students. And that student meeting is an hour where I'm going to go over your questions specifically from the training program. Okay, so we can go over each step, we can go over examples, but it's for students in the training program only, whether you've taken it previously or if you are new. Okay, watching this price, we are at 670. Ooh, that's what a move, huh? Okay, that would have been a beautiful trade. Too bad I was conservative, but that's what happens. Okay, so now we're waiting. It blew through this resistance, interestingly enough, and that's a pretty much, we can say that's a blow through. Okay, we'll see. We still have to see how this closes. So now what to do? I mean, if it's going to be strong, it blew through that one. We have another one up in here. Okay, we have this area up here. Let's see how price behaves there. That's quite a vertical move. So if the momentum is changing, right? I mean, we cleaned right through that resistance like it wasn't even there. If the momentum is changing, this resistance may now act as a support. That could lead to a new buy signal in the next hour or so. All right. So we'll see how that works. I'm not going to be streaming that long, but that's how you change your perspective. You adjust to the market. You don't react, you adjust. Okay. Yeah. So think of it this way. At least I wasn't shorting it here like everyone else. Okay. Calling that a short. I wasn't shorting it here, just stepping in front of it for no reason. And I'm still out waiting. Okay. You're better off waiting. Who cares if you missed the move? There will be more setups. Okay. Would moves like this be in anticipation of the dollar? No. I mean, I don't. When this is intraday stuff. So when there's intraday stuff going on like this, I don't really watch the dollar. Maybe I should, but the dollar is more bigger picture, right? So I know intraday, there's all kinds of nonsense and noise and irrational stuff. So watching the Nasdaq, there's a very clear relationship usually between Nasdaq, S&P, and Bitcoin. So that can be somewhat helpful if there's some kind of reaction, right? But the dollar, no. The dollar, I think, is too big anyway. So that's why I don't tie too much into the dollar on these smaller picture moves. A lot of times, things can be very irrational and very random. So I keep that in mind with this. Okay, you're not going to get any precision, by the way. I just want to see. I pulled up the Nasdaq not because I'm gonna take a trade just because the Nasdaq is doing something. I'm not going to trade on that, but I just want to notice. Is the Nasdaq generally strong or generally weak, and what's the momentum like? And it's no surprise to see Bitcoin overreacting to it. Okay, no problem. But I'm still paying attention to my levels. I'm still paying attention to, is the trend still intact? Is it changing? What's going on? Okay. I mean, this is not, while that resistance is broken, we can still argue that this is a range. We can still argue that this is a range, right? So that means resistance is still likely to stick. If that's the case, I want to be short resistance. Okay, I don't want to be buying this at resistance. So it's a constant adjustment. All right, how much time do we have here? All right, so we got 1 minute for this candle. All right, you guys. So as I'm wrapping this up, so I pretty much told you what to expect. Look, I'm sorry I missed the move, but it was just not. I wasn't liking the level, right? And this is going to happen, and there's no way to know that it's going to be like this, right? There's just no way to know. It's a chance you take. And then, like, for example, if we had that long, there was never any reason to get out of this thing. I mean, it went vertical, right? These moves are rare. They're not frequent. So don't sit there and say, oh man, wow. And then you get into a trade and you're expecting this. Don't expect that. It's a bad thing to expect. I mean, look at all this price action before that. Okay. And then we get one of these, just one. So don't go into it thinking like that. Go into it thinking that you're going to get an average movement like this. Okay. Anyway, but this usually is a result of short. That's a short squeeze. All these people shorting, all right, and they're wrong, and they get squeezed. Now is the time to be thinking short. Now, not at the lows. All right. So you see how that works? Anyway, so most of this is a thought process. It's not, people want like a technical thing. Show me how this oscillator works. You're wasting your time. Stop with that stuff. There's no precision. There's no advantage to using anything, especially a tool that's given to you for free. There's zero advantage. So if there's zero advantage, that means that the probability is 50-50. It's a 50% outcome. Okay, it means half the time you're going to be wrong. That's what it means. So you can flip a coin, get the same result. Stop wasting your time with nonsense. My charts are clean. I only draw my own levels on the charts. I'm evaluating structure and price action. You want to know how that works? You can take my training program. Okay, for those of you that haven't taken it, and you can find out about that there. All right, you guys. So I got to wrap this up again. These sessions are only supposed to be 30 minutes, but I can't stop myself from talking. So I need to figure out a way to make these a little shorter. Maybe I can just stop talking. All right, you guys. So you know where to find me if you have any questions. Make sure you check the links in the description, right? And check that stuff out there. All right, other than that, enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much for watching.